This story was shared by Joseph Robinson, and it took place in 2017. Joseph had recently moved into his very first apartment after leaving his parents' house. It was an old two-story home built in the 1930s, which had been converted into 3 separate units. Joseph resided in the upstairs unit, which was a decently sized 2-bedroom apartment featuring a spacious kitchen and a pantry. He shared the place with his loyal German Shepherd. At that time, only one of the downstairs units was occupied, and Joseph knew this because there was a car parked in one of the 3 spaces behind the building. This was his only clue that someone was living there, as the occupants rarely left the house. Joseph, working from home most days and doing event photography at a local theater during the night, never saw anyone leaving the bottom unit during the daytime. However, he couldn't ignore the sounds of footsteps and conversations from below. After living there for almost 3 weeks, Joseph began to notice strange occurrences, like rustling noises within the living room walls and mysterious thumps coming from the guest room. When he left the house and returned, he often found things rearranged or missing in response to these strange events. He had the management company change all the locks, but the peculiar incidents persisted. One night, when the theater was closed for repairs and Joseph stayed in, his brother needed to borrow his car. Since his own car was in the shop, Joseph's brother walked over to borrow his car. They chatted briefly, and then his brother took the car for his errands. Joseph stayed inside for the rest of the day, catching up on some overdue editing work. Around 9:30 p.m., Joseph started hearing a voice from downstairs, close to the front door. The house had a layout with an entryway shared with the occupied downstairs unit. At first, Joseph assumed it was an echo of his neighbor, but the voice grew louder, and he could clearly discern the man's words. He was having an argument with himself, laughing hysterically, and repeatedly saying that it was time, followed by a loud and aggressive no. This unnerved Joseph, and he considered calling the police multiple times. However, after about 45 minutes, the strange sounds suddenly ceased, and everything fell quiet despite feeling uneasy. Joseph was too fatigued to stay up and decided to retire for the night. On this particular night, Joseph's dog stayed with him. As he wasn't leaving for photography work, around 4 a.m., he was abruptly awakened by the deep, menacing growl of his dog. It wasn't the usual growl she made when spotting a cat. This was more like "I'm going to tear you apart" kind of growl. Joseph jumped out of bed and went searching for his dog, who was in the kitchen, facing the pantry. As Joseph turned the corner, he heard the sound of a door slamming within the pantry. However, when he reached the pantry, the door was still open. His dog continued to growl and pushed against the back shelf. When Joseph examined the pantry closely, he noticed a tiny gap between the back shelf and the wall, and when he pushed it, he revealed a hidden room behind the pantry. His dog attempted to enter the room, but Joseph stopped her. Inside, there was a small hallway leading to a drop-down area. Joseph didn't venture inside, but immediately called the police. They arrived and found his neighbor downstairs, asking him to open his door. What they discovered was disturbing: a large hunting knife and a missing panel from his closet wall that led to the hidden room behind Joseph's pantry. The building owner claimed It was what remained after the renovation that converted the house into 3 units. Joseph decided to move out that week, shortly after moving into their new home. A couple from Utah stumbled upon something unexpected that wasn't listed in their home's description. While this may sound exciting, what they found was far from it. The couple discovered a hidden room in their house, and it resembled a torture dungeon. The entry to this hidden chamber was concealed behind an ordinary-looking bookcase. In a seemingly regular lounge, the wife and mother said the bookcase against the wall seemed off, so she attempted to move it and realized that it was securely fixed and disguised a secret door that the couple was unaware of. The room was not mentioned in the listing, and neither the realtor nor the previous owners had mentioned it. The woman shared photos on Reddit, showing the various stages of her opening the bookcase and unveiling the creepy room behind the wall. The images were captured using only the phone's camera flash, revealing a concrete room with a single fold-out chair in the middle. Various other objects were scattered around the space, leading Reddit users to speculate about the room's potentially dark history. But it's essential to remember that, while discovering such a room in your home might be eerie, there's no concrete proof that the room was ever used for malicious purposes. The couple later repurposed the room into a small gym. However, a more mysterious Reddit post from April 2019 shared a photo of an entrance to a hidden room in someone's house. The only difference here is that the Reddit user who posted this never followed up with more information or pictures beyond the door. The Redditor found this creepy-looking door hidden in the basement and noticed a substantial metal shelf deliberately blocking the entrance, as if to deter anyone from going in. The Redditor claimed that this was done by the previous owner. The post didn't provide additional details, but what made it even stranger was that it was the last post ever made by this Reddit account. This account had been quite active before this post, but it suddenly disappeared. People speculated that the person might have entered the room and found something inside that could have led to their disappearance, or worse, attempts to find more details about the Redditor's location and related news articles about disappearances yielded no results. So, whatever happened in this case remains a mystery. This last story comes from a viewer named Sal from Hope Mills, North Carolina, in the summer of 2022. Sal and his friend Connor moved into an upstairs apartment in a 2-family home in town, advertised as a month-to-month rental on Facebook Marketplace. They didn't sign a lease, but saw it as a convenient temporary escape from their parents' houses. The apartment had 2 bedrooms, ample closet space, a living room, a bathroom, and a small kitchen. The bedrooms were on opposite sides of a long hallway, with the living room in the middle. All rooms and the hallway had carpeting. There was a large closet in the hallway, which they planned to use for storage since they were only going to be there for the summer. Sal started hearing noises from above the apartment. Right from the beginning, at first, he dismissed the creaks and cracks in the wood as normal house sounds. However, on one of their first nights there, he distinctly heard what he believed to be footsteps right above his apartment. The cracks in the floor seemed to be moving steadily. Alarmed, Sal went to Connor's room and knocked on the door to ask if he also heard the sounds. By the time Connor opened the door, the cracks had stopped. Sal shared his concern with Connor, realizing that since they were on the upper level, There should be no space above them apart from an attic. However, they were not informed of any attic by the landlord. The next day, Sal contacted Tom, the landlord, to ask about the existence of an attic. Tom replied that there was no attic and that any sounds from above were probably just the pipes. Sal, therefore, continued to dismiss the sounds as mere house noises. However, the strange sounds persisted for several nights. One day, after returning home from work, while Sal was alone in the apartment, the downstairs tenant was also out. He continued to hear clear and distinct footsteps directly above his head. Sal decided to investigate further and began looking for a potential attic door. There were no attic doors in the bedrooms or the living room. He checked the large hallway closet and noticed something unusual: a hanging plastic garbage bag blocking something. When he moved it aside, he discovered a white door leading to a staircase that ascended to another door. Sal quietly climbed the stairs and opened the rickety wooden door at the top. What he found was beyond his wildest expectations. There was a cramped, disheveled apartment up there. He briefly glimpsed a small, dirty kitchen, a living room with an old sofa, and an open doorway leading to what appeared to be a bedroom. The place smelled strongly of human waste, almost driving him out. Before he could react, he heard cracks in the floor from the small bedroom. He quickly descended the stairs, locked himself in his room, and dialed 911. The police arrived, and Sal showed them the secret passage to the hidden upstairs floor. They discovered a disheveled man in a small bedroom on the 3rd floor. The landlord, Tom, arrived at the scene and admitted that the man on the 3rd floor was his troubled brother, and he needed a place for him to stay. The 3rd floor, previously an attic, had been secretly converted into a living space, but it lacked a bathroom. Explaining the horrendous odor, the police found human feces in the sink. Sal and Connor had only been in that apartment for a few days, but admit that the man likely entered their apartment at some point, perhaps even taking food from them.